This is Noah Lyles, an American track and field athlete, 6-time world champion, Olympic gold medalist, and currently the fastest man alive. Today we'll be going into the mechanics behind elite performance in sprinting, focusing on Noah's crouch start as a prime example. We'll be focusing on 5 biomechanical factors that help professionals like Noah succeed. These include force summation, impulse, Newton's laws, stability balance, and friction. He uploads weekly on YouTube where he, luckily for us, has numerous videos on crouch starts. But first, what is a crouch start? A crouch start is a type of starting position used in track races up to 400 meters. They are used to maximize acceleration from a stationary position as it allows more horizontal velocity to be generated in running. This is because of the increased force at which the body takes off at. There are 3 stages of crouch starts. These are positioning / on your marks, set, and accelerate. Number 1, positioning / on your marks. This is when an athlete steps onto the block and sets themselves up ready to begin the race. This is done by placing their dominant foot forwards and the other firmly against the block, crouching down and placing most of their weight on the front foot. The hands are just behind the starting line and shoulders and head are down. 2 is the set position, a slight change from preparing to take off, done by raising the hips and shifting the body weight forward to achieve an optimal angle for power and acceleration. The 3rd stage is the acceleration stage. This is the transition from start to maximum speed. This phase involves gradually rising from the crouch start position to an upright sprinting position. To understand the mechanics behind an elite sprinting performance like Noah Lyles, we need to break down the key biomechanical factors that play a crucial role. Let's get into them. Force summation. This is a biomechanical factor used to perfection by Lyles to create a perfect rhythm of the muscles and therefore the body. Force summation is about maximizing the total force output by strategically timing and coordinating the contribution of various muscle groups. In sprinting, it's so important for generating the explosive power needed to launch out of the blocks and into the race. When Lyles pushes off the starting block, his legs provide the primary force. His quadriceps, hamstrings, and glutes contract powerfully, driving his body forward. But it doesn't stop here. His core muscles engage to stabilize his torso, preventing any energy loss through unnecessary side-to-side movement. While this is happening, he drives his arm forward, opposition to his legs, creating a counterbalance that helps maintain forward momentum and stability. The overall result of this all working together is to maximize the force applied to the track. Impulse. Impulse is defined as the product of force and the time over which that force is applied. In simple terms, it's the push that gets you moving, and it's calculated as a force multiplied by the duration of its application, P equals Ft. For sprinters like Lyles, maximizing impulse is a must for explosive acceleration. The faster he can apply the force to the ground, the quicker he can convert that into forward momentum. When Lyles is starting off the block, his leg muscles generate a massive force. This is the key to explosive starts. It is not the amount of force, but how quickly he applies it. By delivering this force in a short, powerful burst, Lyles minimizes the time his foot is in contact with the ground, maximizing his acceleration. This quick application of force results in a powerful launch, critically gaining speed rapidly from the start. Newton's laws. Newton's first law states that an object in rest will stay at rest, or an object in motion will stay in motion unless acted on by an external force. For a sprinter, this means that until the starting gun fires, Lyles may remain stationary, held in place by his own inertia. But as you can see here, Lyles is leaning forwards, making himself unstable, therefore minimizing his inertia. This means that he will need less external force to overcome the inertia, the external force in this case being the powerful push of his legs to overcome the inertia, setting his body in motion. This leads us to Newton's second law, which explains how force and acceleration are related. According to this law, force equals mass times acceleration, or F equals ma. In sprinting, the amount of force that Lyles can generate directly influences how he accelerates off the line. This is because of the proportionality law. F is directly proportional to A when M is constant. As Lyles pushes off the block in one direction, his muscles generate a force that propels his mass in the other. The greater the force, the greater he accelerates. And finally, we come to Newton's third law. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. When Lyles drives his back foot into the starting block, the block pushes back with an equal force in the opposite direction. This reaction force is what gives Lyles such an amazing force and speed. So now, on to Noah versus Hugo. Before we do anything, here is my crouch start next to Lyles. Bit different, hey? But why is this? Well, the first reason is that he's a world-class sprinter. But how about biomechanically? First, we'll go over the force summation behind me and Lyles. The first thing you notice is, well, as you can see, I push my right arm forwards when he doesn't, which makes me much slower. As I haven't yet mastered the correct technique to coordinate my muscle grips effectively, this also affects how I use my muscles and how so out of sync they are compared to the amazing athlete of Lyles. Next is impulse, which is all about how quickly you can apply force. As you can see here, Lyles generates about 1300 newtons of force in a lightning time of 0.178 seconds, while I produce nowhere near that with a reaction time of 0.261 seconds. His application of force gives him a powerful launch, propelling him into a rapid acceleration. On the other hand, my impulse isn't as effective. My foot stays in contact with the ground a bit longer, reducing the explosive power needed to maximize my start. Let's look at Newton's laws in action. As you can see, Lyles minimizes his inertia by leaning forward, making himself unstable. This reduces the external force needed to overcome inertia when he pushes off the blocks. Here, you can see the difference. My center of gravity remains more stable, which means I require more force to overcome inertia and get moving. Lyles' lean forward also allows him to generate greater force, accelerating faster as a result. This is shown by how fast he can put his foot down off the block, versus me. Let's take a closer look at stability and balance. Lyles' forward lane gives him an advantage in explosive power, but I have more balance because I remain more upright. My center of gravity stays well within my base of support, providing me with greater control and balance during the push-off. However, while this balance helps prevent any loss of stability, it also means I sacrifice some of that explosive power that Lyles gains from his lane. Lastly, friction plays a crucial role in our starts. Lyles maximizes friction between his shoes and the track by digging his spikes in, ensuring he doesn't slip, and converts muscular power into forward motion efficiently. My technique here is less effective, as I don't achieve the same level of grip, as I do not have the correct gear, and the ground is different. But I guarantee you, if I had the same conditions, we wouldn't have the same start. This difference in friction does require much skill and contributes to Lyles gaining more speed from the start. In wrapping things up, the mechanics behind sprinting, especially in athletes like Noah Lyles, really highlights how important the little details are. From force summation to impulse, Newton's laws, stability and friction, it all comes together to create this explosive start of Noah Lyles. Watching how he nails every aspect from coordinating his muscles to applying force quickly shows just how much there is to sprinting beyond running fast. Comparing his start to mine, you can clearly see where technique makes a big difference, whether it's in power, speed, or just getting off the blocks. It's definitely an eye-opening experience to see how these biomechanical factors play such a huge role, and it gives me a clear idea of what I need to work on in my own start. Thanks.